Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or if you're in Liberia following us, then it's going to be good evening. Once again, welcome to Focus on Liberia. But this is the Focus on Liberia marketplace, but the same thing where we strive to promote, educate, and elevate all things Liberia. Today on our show, we're going to be talking about insurance. Before I dive straight into insurance and introduce our guests, first, let me just read our disclaimer right quick so we can get the show started. So the content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on our media or written documents constitute a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Focus on Liberia or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments in this or in any other jurisdiction in which such media material may be shared. All content on this site is information of general nature and does not address the circumstances of any particular individual entity. Nothing in the media constitutes professional or financial advice, nor does any information on the platform constitute a comprehensive or competent statement of the material discussed or the laws related thereto. FOL is not a fiduciary by virtue of any person's use or access to the media content. Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, we say, listen, before you make any financial decision, please consult with a professional licensed financial advisor and don't say it's FOL's decision or thoughts that made you do anything. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is William King and broadcasting from nationwide. I'm in California. We got Gabriel, who's going to be
Co-host.
our co-host today, and he's coming from Boston. We got Borbi, he's from Atlanta, and we got someone from the Windy City that is going to be joining us, Haruna Asma Kieta, and he's coming from Chicago. And just a full disclaimer for all everybody that's in that cold weather right now in Los Angeles. I hate to burn your heart, but it is hot, hot, hot. It is above 84 degrees over here in February. So we're loving it.
Wow.
With that being said, we got Borbi and we got Haruna Asma Keita. First, we're going to start with Borbi, please. We're going to give you 2 minutes to share a little bit about yourself. And then Haruna, we're going to give you, since you're our special guest, first time on the show, we're going to give you 3 minutes. Go ahead, Borbi.
Thank you for having me, William and Gabriel. Haruna, how you doing? No, Haruna, we've been in conversation. My name is Borbi Blopleh. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. Family man. I have two boys, 14 and 8. I'm married, and I love financial services. I like helping people, and my mission is no family left behind. Okay, how do we get people from how do we get information from Wall Street and bring it to Main Street? I've been a licensed financial professional for since 2015. I'm in 30 plus states licensed, and I've been in financial services as a whole since 2008. So I'm very happy to be on this show today, William and Gabriel and Haruna, and I'm hoping that we get a lot of a large audience so that people can learn and hear from us today and improve their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Haruna.
Great. It's good to be here. I want to say hello to everyone in Liberia and happy Armed Forces Day. We should not forget our men in arms and want to appreciate Gabriel and William for giving me this opportunity. First time here on this platform, and I've been following this platform religiously. My name is Haruna Keita, and I've been into the financial services for a while now, for almost a year. I got my license when I was in Senegal visiting my wife. And this is the good thing of technology where you can sit anywhere and apply for your license. So since I got licensed, I've been working with WFG, that is the World Financial Group. And the primary goal is to help families because a lot of rich people have opportunity for financial advisor, lawyers, but a lot of poor people cannot afford that, so they are like behind in the race, in the financial race. And we believe that some of the things that have led to many people being poor while few people will be rich, because we all do not have access to this financial information. So WFG came in play, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to join them, is to bridge that gap, to help people who cannot afford financial advisor and lawyers to have access to financial knowledge, to be able to help themselves. At least they can be able to invest their money, plan for their retirement, and things like that. So I've been working with WFG for a year now, and I'm doing it part time. That's the secret about it. I also work for the Baha'i National Assembly, that is a religious group here in the U.S. So I serve as an accountant and work in the account receivables department.
Oh, nice.
Thank you very much. Gabriel, he's going to be joining us as well. He's our co-host. Most of you are very familiar with Gabriel Vito Carter. He works in the banking industry and so forth. And, we don't need no more introduction about him. So, gentlemen, let's get straight into this thing. Personal finance 3.0. We have 1.0. We talked about your, personal budget.
Yeah.
We had 2.0 where we spoke about investments,
Yeah.
stocks, bonds, and so forth. But we realized that it was such a big area, and we had to save another area, personal finance 3.0, to talk about insurance. With that being said, what is insurance, Borbi?
Well, insurance is a contract between an insured person and an insurance company. Okay, and where the insurance company agrees to pay the beneficiary of the insured person a certain amount of money, which is agreed upon, of course, when the contract is signed, but also under the condition that the insured pays their premiums. So, in a nutshell, that's what insurance is basically.
Right.
Specifically, life
And
insurance.
that premium is paid when the individual dies, right? Or depending what type of life insurance it is, they do that when they're terminally ill, where they can take out money from that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and this is specific to life insurance, which I'm licensed for. So the death benefit is paid out to the beneficiary of the insured
Right.
when that person passes away. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Got it. Thank you. So, how big is? Give us an idea, be it globally or nationwide. How big is the insurance industry, Mr. Keita?
It's a very big industry, I must admit. Like for the US, we have about $1.28 trillion in net premiums when it comes to life insurance policy. And you have thousands of people who are lesson agents
Mhm.
working within the industry. So it provides job opportunities for young people, and as well, and also help protect family who might be struggling with life and want to take care of the family and things like that. So it's a very, very big industry.
Thank you. Now, to be sure, I know you just touched. Is that just life insurance, or is that everything?
That,
Property,
that's everything. The
everything. Okay.
1.3 trillion is everything.
Okay. Because so that means my phone. I cracked my phone screen on Monday, and I called my insurance company. I walked into the place, and pretty much by Tuesday, 2 hours later, right? I went to pick it back up, and the screen had been replaced. Samsung charges $239, but I only had to pay 49. So is that the one of the benefits of having insurance? But I pay $8 a month.
Yeah, basically, insurance is about protection. You want to
Okay.
protect yourself against the unforeseen circumstances, be it like protecting your asset. So, be it your car, your phone, your family. It's all about protecting yourself against the unforeseen circumstances. So, but you have to pay for the services that is rendered to you. So
Okay.
that $8 that you are paying towards that coverage is for the services that is rendered to you.
Okay. Let's talk about players. What are can anyone sell insurance?
Can anyone sell insurance?
Yes. Can I
Well,
come on? I'm not licensed. Basically, can I come in and just be a middleman without any oversight above me? Can I just go and knock on my mom's door and say, hey, you know what? Give me your money. I'm gonna provide you life insurance. Can anyone?
well, let me
What's
say
the
that.
regulation
So
like?
the
Oh,
insurance industry is highly regulated.
okay.
So talk us through the process. I think that's
Yeah.
what he's trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a highly regulated industry, financial services. It's like, I mean, you can't even become a barber without a license to cut somebody's hair. You cannot prepare food for the public without having a license, right? You can't be a nurse and administer medication without being licensed. So the financial services industry is the same way. You cannot just walk off the street and offer somebody an insurance policy. No, you have to be licensed. Now, with that being said, some companies offer a covering license, so you can come in and get what they call temporary license, which means you haven't taken the life insurance course yet, but you can be under somebody else's license for a short period of time.
Okay. So what? Tell me about the insurance companies and insurance brokers. What's the difference?
Well, insurance brokers are generally manage a group of companies on a platform.
Okay.
Okay, not dissimilar from from real estate brokers, where you have access to many different carriers. There are hundreds, Haruna. There are hundreds of insurance companies out there, hundreds, and these brokers manage a group of insurance companies and give you access to those insurance companies if you're an agent. So if you're an agent, typically you enroll with a certain broker to have access to their group of companies, and so that's pretty much how it works.
Do you need to have when you go to start an insurance company before you issue a license? Do you need to have a certain amount of cash, I guess, to the side as reserve to pay premiums as you kind of ramping up, or can you do it without any reserve to pay a premium?
Well, is that for me?
Or Mr. Keita,
I
you
didn't
can
want
take
to.
it.
I didn't want to take over the whole
Yeah.
conversation, but I would just say yes. Of course, you need to have a certain amount of reserves. I don't know the details of how much you need before you can set up an insurance company. That's something I can do some research on. But go ahead, Haruna.
Yeah, I was just about to say that in terms of regulations, I think most of us have heard or watched the movie The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
So people are very skeptical when it comes to insurance matters. So therefore, it has to be very much regulated,
Yeah.
and agents who are doing insurance business are not excused from the regulations. There are things we say. There are things even in terms of advertisement, there are certain words that you cannot use in your advertisement because it would be like trying to do or not give all of the information, hide some
Mhm.
information from the public. So it's heavily regulated. In terms of the broker, maybe establishing an insurance company, of course, you have to have certain amount of money. I cannot take that amount from my head now, but you must have certain amount of money established because if you taking people money to with the promise that you will give them that coverage, and when the incident occur, you should be financially potent enough to cover up that that coverage that you have pledged to render. So the government will step in and make sure that you are financially potent to run business.
Okay,
Right.
thank you very much. How can one, if you're selling, for example, life insurance, can I call you in Atlanta? I'm in California. Will you be able to service me, or there are different states have different uh, regulatory
Regulations on.
regulations.
Yeah, Bobby, you mind if I go first?
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
for it. Go for it.
All right, great. Yes, to answer your question, yes, every state has its own regulations when it comes to insurance. However, I can give you my own personal experience. I got my insurance license from Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and I can do business in any part of the U.S. and Canada. However, I must get insurance license for each state that I want to do business with. I do not have to go and study all of the materials now, but I can apply for the license from that
For
state.
each
And
state. Right.
some states will even require you to for like further education. And once you have your insurance license for various states where you can do business, there are times you have to like renew,
Yeah.
Okay.
like continuing education. So the learning process never comes to an end. And like it's legal, it's law. So it keep adapting to meet the present reality, and each agent must also be in compliance.
Yeah. Before Bobby, before you come in, I just wanted to say
Okay.
this. So what he's trying to say, so some state like in Massachusetts, if you have your license here, because the regulations here, the requirements to get your license is so stringent, so strong, right? That
Mhm.
if you pass your Massachusetts license, some states have a what we call reciprocity license. So you won't, if you apply for it, let's say in Connecticut or maybe New York, they won't require you to do any other additional coursework. So there are some states that have very stringent rules and regulation on insurance licenses that if you got your license in those states and you're applying for them in other states, they don't require you to do anything. All you have to do is apply for that and then pay the fees and then it'll grant you the license. However, there are other states that are not so strict, where the rules and regulations are very lax. So if you get your license there, and let's say you wanted to apply for a license here in Massachusetts, right? They require additional learning material or even studies material before they will even grant you that. So I just wanted to say that, and I think that's what Keita was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, and you're absolutely right, Gabriel, and Haruna as well. Um, the insurance industry is highly regulated, but the states regulate their own insurance department. There's no federal body regulating insurance, especially when it comes to life insurance. I can't speak to
Yeah.
property and casualty because I'm not licensed for that.
right,
So everything I'm talking about is life insurance, life and health. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So, like you said, Gabriel, when it comes to the actual license, in fact, all states practice reciprocity, which means I'm in Georgia,
hmm
I sat the exam here in Georgia, I got a Georgia license. All I
hmm
have to do, to Haruna's point, is go online to the Department of Insurance in California, pick up a California license, and pay the fee,
yep.
and go to the Department of Insurance in Massachusetts and pay their expensive life insurance fee. So I think it's supposed
So
to be.
you did look into that. You did look into that. It is very
I do have a
expensive.
license for Massachusetts, and
Yeah,
it's really
we are
expensive. It's a different
it's
place.
expensive. That's why they call it Massachusetts. We were for no apparent reason. Everything here, the taxes here, that just to start a business is very high. So you're right. You're right about that.
With that
But
being said,
yeah,
too,
yeah,
New York,
Yeah.
New York is
Yeah.
a whole different country
Yeah.
when it comes to financial services. I mean, to the
yeah.
point where even the different every carrier that does business in New York have
hmm
to design a specific product just for New York.
hmm
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that's a big challenge. But I will say, in wrapping up here, that life insurance is one of the easiest entry points to financial services. It's
hmm
very easy to get a license.
Yeah.
Most states do
Okay.
require you to do a 40-hour training online or in person or wherever. And you just do that. Some people do it in 3 days to a week. The average is 2 weeks of going
hmm
over this material, and then you go take an exam. And most
hmm
states require a C minus to get your insurance license.
That's the lowest grade you can get.
But I admonish anybody that wants to work part-time. Maybe you want to do something online with it that gives you flexibility, gives you income where no sales pressure and all of that. Get yourself a life insurance license
Yeah.
And make some money part-time. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, with that being said, I think what we need to do now is switch into the type of life insurance, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure both of you, well, not both of you have experiences in the type of life insurances that are out there. So, what would you guys say are the various type of life insurances out there,
All right.
or how many types are there?
Okay. Well, Haruna, you want to take that first, and then I'll
Yeah.
come and
So
buttress
basic,
it.
yeah, basically we have like three main types of life insurance, which can go down the line. We have the term life insurance, and it has different category as well.
Yeah.
Blopleh will talk more about that, and then we have the whole life insurance, where someone might also call it as a permanent life insurance.
Yeah.
Then we have the universal life insurance, and then later on along the line we have the index universal life
Index, my favorite.
universe. That's
Yeah,
the hottest kick now on the
that's
block.
my favorite.
I will.
Yeah.
So we have the index universal life
Yeah.
insurance. They all have different specific, and
Yeah.
it depends on your need and what you can afford.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. Usually we break it down into two parts when it comes to the types of life insurance. Temporary life insurance, which is like you could equate it to renting a car or renting an apartment, and then you have permanent life insurance, which is like purchasing a house, right? So
Right.
temporary life insurance, like the term suggests, is insurance that is in place for a particular term. In fact, that's why they call it term insurance. So it could be a 10-year term, 15-year, 20-year, 25-year, 30-year term. Usually it goes up to 30 years. And after the insurance expires, a lot of companies will allow you to renew it. However, renewing it would mean paying, in some cases, 10 times more the cost. So usually when the term expires, people just let it go. Okay?
Because at that time you're older now, right? So it becomes
Exactly.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends. So you're older. Hopefully, you have other things in place. But usually, what I see is that people let the term expire and then get another one. But there's a catch because you're much older. The
Right.
price of insurance, life insurance, is based on your age and your health. Now, if you wait 30 years and then you got to get a new policy, you might be in trouble because if the cost doesn't get you based on your age, you might have some stuff going on health wise. Okay. So it's always good to get a convertible term. A convertible term means before your term expires, you're able to convert it from temporary to permanent. Okay, that's term insurance. Term insurance is very inexpensive, and the reason for that is it only pays out 20% of the time. That means 20% of people who get a term insurance actually die during the term. So most people end up expiring the term, and you put all this money in. You don't get money back from a term insurance policy. Okay, it's just there to cover you if you get a house. If you purchase a house and you have a 30-year mortgage, you want to get you a 30-year term insurance policy big enough to cover the cost of the house, so that if something were to happen to you, that your family is not put out on the street. You don't even want your surviving spouse or family members to go back and sell the house or refinance or put their name up. None of that. You just want the house to be paid off and they can just have a house to live in. So that's the benefit of term insurance. The cost is very low just based on the fact that it's a term policy. So a lot of times people opt for getting a term as opposed to a permanent just based on the cost. Now, let's talk about permanent insurance, like Haruna mentioned, there are different types of permanent insurance. And permanent insurance, the difference between permanent and term is that permanent lasts your whole life. In fact, the most popular type of permanent insurance is called whole life insurance. But then, like Haruna said and Gabriel, you alluded to, there are different types of permanent insurance. You have the indexed universal life insurance, which falls under the universal life category. You have the variable universal life insurance policy, and you have the guaranteed universal life, and then universal life. So those all work pretty much the same way. The big difference between a whole life and the universal life policies is that with a whole life policy, your premiums are fixed. If they're charging you $50 a month for your policy, you can only put in $50 a month. Now, the $50 a month into a whole life policy does grow cash value, and that cash value can be borrowed against at some point later on. Coming to the universal life policies, they don't have a fixed premium. They have flexible premium. Now, when you hear flexible, it doesn't mean that they're going to be increasing the price of the cost of the premium on you every year. That's not what flexible means. Flexible means that you have the option to put more money into the life insurance policy because you want to grow more of it into this tax advantage bucket. Any amount of money you put in a life insurance contract becomes tax advantage. That means it will grow without you being charged taxes. You can take the money out without paying taxes. So it's an advantage. The last point I would make when it comes to universal life policies is that you can actually stop making payments, and based on the cash value that's inside of the policy, that policy could potentially last you your whole life. For instance, maybe a client could be 25 years old. They get a index universal life policy, which I think is one of the best policies to get, index universal life. They get an index universal life policy, and they make payments until age 60, and then they stop making payments. More than likely, they don't have to make any more payments into that policy. It will last them until age 120. Okay, so that's a good benefit of the universal life policies.
So the cash value that policy has accumulated up to the age of 60 will now pay out the rest of the term till however old that person might be. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in fact, sit
Wow.
with for those in the audience listening, sit with a insurance professional and let them show you an illustration of what we're talking about. Not only is that cash value, Gabriel, going to last your whole life, but it will grow every year. For instance, let's say your cash value is $200,000 at the age of 60, and you stop making payments. By age 61, it will grow to about 220, 230. By age 62, it will grow a little bit more, and it will keep growing even though you stop making payments into it. Now, why is that?
Because it's
the reason
index.
for that is that the money is accruing interest based on the index that is in.
Right.
You could be, it could be anywhere from zero. It's not the funds are not invested in the stock market, but it mimics what happens in the stock market with an IUL, Index Universal Life. So if the stock market has a positive return, your cash value will have a positive return up to a ceiling. There's usually a ceiling. And if the stock market does a negative return, your funds will be left at zero. It has a floor, so it will never go negative.
Wow.
Okay, thank you very much. Real quick, you mentioned that zero is very scary. I think you need to take one more minute to explain that. If I have for example, if you have a 200K life insurance, will it drop to zero if the market goes down? Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean when you say there's a floor?
Okay, let me elaborate on that. And we're talking specifically for we're talking about an
Index.
index universal life
Right,
insurance
right.
policy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let me talk about a variable life insurance policy first. With a
Okay.
variable life insurance policy, the extra when you make your premium payments every month, a portion of that is put into this savings bucket. That savings bucket is invested in the stock market, basically. And so it will do whatever the stock market does. If the stock market does positive 20%, your funds will do 20%. If it does negative 30%, your money will drop and lose negative, it will lose 30% of value. Okay? That's a variable universal life insurance policy.
But the
Now,
premium of my life insurance, will that go away?
sorry?
Will my life insurance, let's say that particular product, if it was 100,000 life insurance that I bought, if I pass, will my 100,000 pay
The
out?
life
Because
benefit.
we
The death
yeah talk
benefit,
now yeah we talk about
you're
that.
talking specifically if your funds drop, right?
Yeah, if my funds drop, does my death benefit go down too?
Okay. It depends. You
Okay,
see,
that's yes.
yeah, it depends. There is a possibility for your life insurance policy to lapse based on how much cash value
You
is in
put in.
there
Yeah.
and how big the drop is. Because there's a cost component in life insurance policies called cost of
Of
insurance.
insurance.
Okay, the cost of insurance is the price is based on your age. Okay,
Okay,
so the older you are, the more the cost of insurance is. So if you put your money in a variable universal life insurance policy and the value drops by a large amount, maybe 2 3 years in a row, they may advise you to put more money in to save it. They'll do an in-force illustration and advise you how much to put in to save it. If not, you could potentially lose it, which is
okay,
probably why Gabriel and myself and Haruna, we like the index universal life strategy because your money is put in an index fund. Now, let me explain that very briefly. When the stock market, your money is not invested in the stock market, but it mimics or copies what happens in the stock market. So when the stock market goes up, the money in your index account is credited that same gain, okay? And when the stock market drops, your money stays right there. You don't lose anything. So instead of crediting you a negative 20, they'll just give you a zero. And so if you have 20,000 in there, it stays at 20,000. You don't lose anything.
okay.
Yeah.
So you
So
go up like steps. You can never
okay,
go down.
okay,
So you
good,
take
good.
advantage of a majority of the upside because there's always a cap, but no downside loss.
Okay, let's see. We have quite a bit of questions coming in here, and I want to make this a little bit interactive. So we got someone that asked a very good question. Okay, Mr. Nimley is saying that do you need to live in America to get this insurance?
Well, not exactly. A lot of carriers do offer insurance to foreign nationals, but there are stipulations surrounding that. And generally, those types of insurance policies tend to be pretty expensive. And they will want you to have a certain amount of death benefit. So you can't get the 50,000 or 100,000 that somebody that lives in the States can get. You may have to do 500,000 plus, depending on the carrier you go with.
Okay. He also says, do you need good credit to buy uh, to buy life or health insurance? Mr. Keita.
First, I will first of all, I will first say to buy life insurance depends on how much you can afford, and how much you can afford goes so many long ways. But you do not your credit score will not impact the cost of your life insurance, not at all. What will impact the cost of your life insurance would be your age, your gender, your health history. These are things that will determine the cost of your life insurance. So, take for example, let me use the idea of a driver, like car insurance. If you're a good driver, your cost of your insurance will be very low. If
Yeah.
you're a bad driver, your cost of insurance will be very high.
Higher. Right.
So we use the same ideas when it comes to health insurance, life insurance. The healthier the healthier you are, the
Mhm.
better your your premium will be. The more you are sickly, the more most likely that you might not even have a life insurance, because there are times wherein you apply for life insurance and based on your medical history, they don't give you, you are not insurable.
Mm.
Yeah, so it all depends on your age and sometimes even your gender. Like it's believed that women live longer than men.
Yeah.
So the cost for a woman getting a life insurance is far more better than the cost
Cheaper.
of a man. Yeah, it's cheaper. That would be the best word to use. It's cheaper
Yeah.
as compared to a man.
Okay, great stuff. Nimla says, I don't want my family sitting on a mat for 2 months before burying me. Could I be in Liberia and get burial insurance from the US?
Well, that depends. Number one, is Mr. Nimley a resident of the U.S.? Okay, because some life insurance carriers, very few, the concierge ones, they will actually fly you back if you die in another country. They'll pay for that and they'll fly you back. Um, However, I would just urge that there's insurance in Liberia as well. Okay, I don't know the state of the industry in Liberia, but I know for sure. I remember at International Bank, IB Bank, there is an insurance company there, and many other insurance companies in Liberia. Again, when it comes to inflation and all these different things, it can devaluate your currency. To what I know for sure, somebody told me, not Liberia, but another African country, that they had insurance in the 80s that they were paying into. But
Mhm.
guess what happened? Um, by the early 2000s, the value of the death benefit, let's call it $500,000, which was almost on par with the US dollars in the 80s.
Mhm.
Right now, that same 500,000, whatever, is not even worth $1,000. You see, because
Wow.
the currency devalued. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one of the risks that we encounter when we try to get insurance in markets that are not fiscally or financially, economically stable.
Mhm.
That's a risk that, frankly, it exists anywhere in the world. That's why in America, if you're getting insurance, look for the insurance company that has a high rating. Uh, you know, Standard and Poor's or Moody.
Yeah.
You should get somebody that's A to A plus rated. Then because company's only as good as their ratings.
And I will want to encourage everyone to get some kind of protection for whatever means it is. Most people will put insurance on their car because their car is expensive. In the event of an accident, you want to be in a better position. You want something to protect you in terms of accident. So that should also apply to everything that you value in your life, and that also includes your family. So and there are so many products outside that you can look for and get to protect your family. If you cannot afford whole life insurance, but you can afford term insurance, at least you can get term insurance in the meantime to protect your family.
Yeah.
Where when the event of death happen, where we don't know when it can happen, your family is protected. We don't want to use the GoFundMe as a means of uh, protecting yourself. So I would want to encourage everyone to get life insurance wherever you find yourself.
That's a brilliant pitch. I like that. Brilliant pitch. Well, I guess you guys, there will be another time at the end of the show where we'll pretty much give you guys the time to do that. But I like that. Thank you for putting that out there. I think people need to hear it, especially our people in the African community. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that is so crucial. So You mentioned that in Liberia there are insurance companies. Yes, there are. There are health insurance companies. To many people's surprise, there's life insurance. There burial insurance, and they're all regulated by the Central Bank of Liberia.
Liberia. Yeah.
And in 2020 or 2019, 2020, there were actually five insurance companies that, because of their premiums not being where they needed to be, they are reserved. They were actually forced to shut down. So it's a industry that's very regulated. They don't play games at all. It's and also across West Africa, the insurance the insurance business is such a lucrative, highly esteemed business
Hmm.
that you have European companies and northern African countries in the Arabic belt that are actually buying or looking to buy into banks and different entities that are holders
Of
or that
insurance.
have ownership in a lot of these entities in sub-Saharan Africa because they see it as something that's very substantial. So it's very regulated and it's very lucrative. It's something that's important in there. So that's just from the business side in me. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about personal financial wealth here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're looking at life insurance. We went in depth with life insurance, and also something we have to understand is that things do happen. Bad things do happen to good people. You drive on the street, accidents do happen. Personally, for me, I remember the experience I had recently where my vehicle just parked on the street. It was a big football game day, and the entire side of my car was swiped, right? I just had to call my insurance company, and 2 weeks later, it's in the shop. And a month later, it's out the shop, and I just had to pay the little premium, of a couple of $100s. So insurance does work, so you don't have to go into your hole. Uh, and this is serious because it was going to cost me over 13K to repair that.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things I could have done with my 13,000. Definitely not spending it on the car, right?
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. Today we are educating and we're elevating the conversation for personal wealth building and how insurance is something that you need to have. We have on here Borbi, and we have also on here Mr. Kieta. So I know you gentlemen spoke about in depth about your knowledge with life insurance, and I think that that's something that is very critical. Tell me a little bit from your experience as being Liberians. Tell me about your experiences with the community and where there are deaths and how this could have been used as a tool to build wealth, but is something that most Liberians are not aware of. Anyone would like to share any thoughts or comment on that?
Oh yeah, I would love to go. Most people think by taking life insurance, you are insuring your life. Ideally, let's look at it from a different perspective. When you
Mm,
take life insurance, you are not just protecting your life, you are protecting the image of your family. How many Liberians people, Liberian people have suffered so much because of the death of a father or the death of a mother? They were when you have a family where the father and the mother are both working and financially potent, they put their resources together and that match their livelihood, their
mhm.
living. When some unforeseen circumstances happen, the father die, the source of income has diminished by that percentage that the father was bringing in.
Absolutely.
And in some family where the dad is the only one, is the source of income for that family, and the dad dies, what happened to the continuation of that livelihood of that family? So life insurance comes as a player to prevent that unforeseen circumstances, that devastating situation from occurring. And once we think about it like that, then we now know the importance of a life insurance. Most young people, especially Liberians, my friends, if you tell them about life insurance, so I'm still young. Uh, I'm still young. I'm not going to die. I'm healthy. But there are two things that are very, very
Certain
unique. Yes, certain, exactly, that will never go away:
death
death
and
and
taxes.
taxes. Death and taxes. So whenever I'm talking about life insurance, I also bring about the issue of taxes. And I was talking with this my friend. I told him, all right, you take all your money, you put it into um, IRA, for example. You say, okay, I don't need life insurance. I'm planning for my retirement. By the time I'm saving a lot of money I'm in my IRA, and by the time I'm old, I'm retired, I can live with that money. And when I die, that money can go to my family. But they forget to know that the IRA that they are saving that money in comes with taxes. By the time there are so many regulations that they are not aware of. I think in the last show it was also discussed to some point in time. So by the
Yes,
time
it
you
did.
take out your money from your IRA, you pay taxes on it. So and I asked them this question: if you have a seed, maybe a plum seed, and the government comes in and say, all right, I want you to plant this seed, and when it grows into a tree and bear a lot of fruits, you put all the fruits together, then I tax it. Or I tax the seed right now, and then when you plant the seed and it grows into a tree and bear a lot of fruits,
I don't
whatever
pay
fruit you
anything.
get is yours. Which one would you prefer? You would
The
prefer
seed.
planting the seed, I mean, taxing the seed now, and by the time it
Absolutely.
grows into a tree and you have a lot of fruits, all that fruit becomes yours. So life
It's a
insurance
good
comes in,
analogy.
yeah, it comes in like that, wherein it the once you put your money into your life insurance, it protects you, it protects your family, and it has investment portfolio where your money can grow
Mhm,
to a very huge amount of money, and it
mhm.
comes out tax free. So it's when you get sick, you go to the hospital and listen to the advice of a doctor. In financial services, you go and sit down with some people who have knowledge in finances and discuss with them, because there are so many products out there that can benefit you and protect your family.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have drawn a better analogy, Haruna. Look, life insurance, it's the foundation of the average family's financial plan, yet is the most overlooked, especially in our community. Okay? Somebody's asking how much $100,000 policy will cost each month. Uh,
Now,
it,
Barbie, before you get that right now, you
it,
understand when somebody says that, right?
uh,
They have bought into this idea that hey, life insurance is something that I need, right?
yeah.
So now you better take your time how you answer this question to this guy now.
The
That
answer
could be
is
a
very
lead. That could be a
simple.
lead for one of you guys.
The
So
answer is very simple. Ambassador Nimlet, get with a life insurance professional because the price is based on your age and it's based on your health underwriting. We can't tell you that here,
and the type
okay?
of policy you get into,
And the
right?
type of policy you're getting. There's two different types, permanent or term insurance. But look, our community needs life insurance. We have auto insurance because we're pretty much forced to get it. In America, you're forced, even in Liberia, you have to get insurance.
Mhm.
You have to get home and renters insurance. So everybody has it. But we insure other things like William is talking about. You know, people insuring their phones, their watches. Um, we insure everything. What is our biggest asset that we have as human beings? It's our life,
Yeah.
right? We have to insure our life. Now, coming to our community, and I've heard a lot of different things. So Liberians don't like to get life insurance. Liberians would rather take their money and just spend for today and forget about tomorrow. That may be true to some extent, but what I have seen is that, and that's why I take the educational
Yeah,
approach. Once
yeah,
you explain to people the value of what this thing is
yeah.
and give them examples of situations of where this thing has helped families. There was a guy that used to work with us, and he had a life insurance policy that has living benefits. That's the life insurance benefit where you don't have to die to use the money. You can use it while you're still alive. This guy caught cancer, came around, said, am I able to use some of this living benefit to take some of this money out and use it? Yes, you qualify for it. He never came back because the disease was so aggressive that the next thing he knew, he was in the hospital. And his wife didn't know anything about the living benefits rider. His family members didn't know. So this guy passed away. But because they had this life insurance, the insurance company paid his family, I think, $500,000. They were able to take that money and put it into another investment fund where that money paid. There's another type of policy that life insurance agents can open. It's called a personal pension plan. You put the money in there, and then they'll pay you a certain amount of money for life.
Annuity.
It's an annuity. I like to say personal pension plan.
Yeah. Okay.
The concept.
Yeah.
But that's an annuity.
Bobby, you know what? You are a guy who, let me tell you something. We got to be careful because this guy knows how to do the wordplay so good. We were at an event and this man told me something and I couldn't help myself but laugh so much. We were trying to get color.
Oh, the color, yeah.
And he came up with a new word for it, man. And I said, "Oh man, what do you call it?"
Share it now.
No. What is it called?
Bread ball.
Bread ball.
Bread ball.
All the women are looking at it like, "Well, you better move from here."
I think I have some bread balls. So what are you talking about?
Right. So,
But technically, that's what it is, though, right?
yeah.
That's what it is. But yeah, so I mean, it's all about how you project what you're trying to say, right? So the passion I have is getting people financial information, getting people knowledge about life insurance and what it can do for your family. And I just ask one simple question: if something were to happen to you today, what is going to happen to your family? How will they survive? And you don't have to say anything else because when you ask people a question, it forces them to think.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah. Okay. So, this one, if you have a child living in Liberia, can you add them as beneficiary? I think that's what they meant on your life insurance.
Yes, you can add anybody.
Another question, gentlemen. Hey, I have life insurance through my job. Is that good enough? Mr. Kieta, please.
I would definitely say it's not good enough. It's good, but it's not good enough because you can lose a job. And once you lose a job, you lose the policy.
Yep.
I always try to encourage people to get life insurance outside of their workplace because once you lose the job, you lose the life insurance. And it comes with a lot of restrictions. There are so many restrictions that you may not benefit once you do not have other life insurance outside of the workplace. So that would be my answer.
Thank you very much.
Let me just say that I sat down with a client and we called their employer HR department.
Yeah.
Do you know that their life insurance policy at their job is only good for working at the job? If you step foot outside of your job and you die in your car, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? But it's dangerous to depend only on work insurance. Work insurance is, for me, Haruna, you probably agree, I just see it as extra insurance.
Yeah.
The reason is, number one, it's usually very small, $50,000 or less. Okay, that's number one. Number two, like Haruna said, if you leave your job, you quit or you retire, or you get fired, or you get laid off, do you know that your policy goes away? It's not portable. And some companies say, oh yeah, you can take the policy, but then you gotta go re-qualify for it. So what's the point? It's better you get your insurance now, even if you have one at the job, get it now so that you can get the lowest price. And if anything happens to you later on, you lose your job or whatever, it doesn't matter because you already have your personal life insurance, right? So I think that's that it's definitely a good thing to get a personal policy.
Okay.
And to,
Go ahead. Sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
just to add quickly, you were talking about the issue of life insurance policy where you do not have to die before you get some benefit from it. And
Right.
if you get your life insurance company with your company and it's restricted, like you have to die before you even get any benefit from it, then you can go and get a term insurance, which is very cheaper, but also have other benefit that you do not have to die. For example, you can be working and have huge illness. For example, cancer, heart attack. These are sickness that is very common nowadays.
Mhm.
So, once you have a term insurance, which is very cheaper and is affordable, but it has that term associated with it, wherein you
The
have a
living
cancer,
benefits, yeah.
yes, a living benefit. Then,
Uh-huh.
once you get sick in that position that you cannot go to work, you cannot, and not going to work means you cannot take care of your family as you used to take care of your family before. What happened to that source of income? So your term insurance now that you have outside of the job comes in and put you in a better financial position so that your family will not suffer because of your illness.
Thank you very much. I have a question up there. What type of life insurance can you purchase for? I think he said for you, your wife, and 2 children. Please hold that. I want to put his other question up there. Mr. Man said, I get life insurance in the Army. Can I get any other life insurance
Hmm.
other than the Army? Please go ahead.
Um,
That's from
well,
the same guy, so y'all can answer it together for him. So the first one was for, he and his
yeah,
kids,
I
right?
have personally, I have 2 life insurance policies. I have a friend who has 14. There is no limit
Yeah.
to the amount of life insurance that you can get. Okay, the only limit the life insurance companies will start to look at is they don't want your premiums that you're paying every month to be too high to the extent that you can't even afford it. Okay, so like 15% of your income, they feel like it's enough to contribute to a life insurance policy. But think about it. Think about it. I could have $100,000 in my bank account for my family, Gabriel.
Mhm.
Okay, I've been working hard. I've been investing into different things, and I have this money. This is for my family. What happens when this money, the day I die, what happens when this money is being transferred to my family? They will have to pay taxes, probably estate taxes, and this, that, and the other, which is very expensive. What will a smart person do? You know what? Instead of just having this taxable income, Haruna talk about taxes and how taxes can affect your nest egg. Instead of giving them 100,000, I will open up a life insurance policy on my life, and I would just be putting the premium in.
Mhm.
The day I die, I wouldn't even have put in $100,000, but my family will still get $100,000 tax free. That's called wealth transfer. That's what smart people, that's what the wealthy are doing right now. And I just want to quickly put out there some books that the audience can go look for and read. Okay. And it will explain everything we're talking about here. The first book is Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. Money, Wealth, Life Insurance by Jake Thompson. The second book is The Power of Zero. The Power of Zero by David McKnight. And then the last book I want your audience to look for is The Financial Pocket Knife. The Financial Pocket Knife. It's written by James L. Studdard Jr. The Financial Pocket Knife. Just read those books and boom. Very
Yeah,
enlightening.
when William gets back, we'll add them on the screen for the
Okay.
audience because he has control. I do have a personal question, maybe for both of you, right?
Okay.
Both of you actually, are Liberians, I suppose, right?
Yep.
And I think, Bobby, I think from what you said, you have licenses in, was it 30 state or 31 states,
Over
right?
36. Yeah.
Right. What do you guys think is the best marketing strategies to really, because I think uh Keita actually alluded to this, that in terms of Liberian needing life insurance. What has been the best marketing strategy have you guys implemented to really get to Liberian people, every one of them, to say, listen, I know where you are, but you do need life insurance. What has been your marketing strategy in terms of actually, besides, operating in general, but actually targeting Liberians to make sure that they, not just the education piece, but making sure that people understand the importance of life insurance and that people are getting coverage on life insurance.
Okay. Okay. First of all, understanding is the greatest motivation.
Yes.
Once someone understand, then they are greatly motivated, and you cannot understand without education. So
Mhm.
we create the platform where we educate the our friends. For me, I first started with my family. I started with my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sisters, and it has a trigger down effect. They also spread the message to other people that Haruna can assist you to know more about life insurance, the benefit of it. And I also run a Facebook page called Let's Talk About Money,
Mhm.
where I share ideas and people ask questions. I respond to them as it relates to life insurance. And I have a Zoom meeting where we study, like Borbi talk about books. We
Mhm.
study different financial instrument to create that education, that awareness. And once that
Brilliant.
education is established, they understand, they are motivated, and then they see the need of
Mhm.
having life insurance. So for me, that's my strategy.
Right. Okay. Uh, it's a Blopleh.
Yeah. The question that popped up making me laugh a little. But yeah, to Haruna's point, you know, the question of life. I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
No, what I was saying is that what strategies have both of you or
Oh,
him
marketing and
implemented to
outreach.
actually,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
to really target the Liberian population or the African population in general, to really, like Keita was saying, like the education piece of it. I think that's the beginning of it. But what have you guys, uh, if you have done it, what have you guys done to really, you know, tap into this population, which I think desperately need to understand it.
Well, one of the, I mean, very simply, I mean, just this platform,
Right.
just coming on here and educating our community
Mhm.
about the benefits of life insurance, giving people testimonies and stories. I'll give you a quick testimony here. One of my clients last year got an insurance for her son, and that's why I urge everybody to get insurance for their kids, not a ride on, a ride along insurance, their own personal life insurance, because everybody is going to die one day. This is
Mhm.
not bad luck you putting on your child. No, they're going to grow up, but they're going to have the cheapest insurance because their parents had the forethought of opening a policy for them when they were still kids, right? I wish my parents had opened up a policy for me when I was just a baby. By now, I would have been paying next to nothing for my life insurance. With
Mhm.
that being said, uh, this client, their child, they got a life insurance policy for their child. Okay, it was one of those index universal life policies. And unfortunately, this child went to the hospital, and due to some medical malpractice or whatever, this child passed away. Um, but we we during the process of discussing with the client, we found out that the client had stopped contributing to the policy. Okay,
Mhm.
like for months, and so
So did
then
it lapse?
Yeah, they didn't even think that the policy was there. I said, well, let's call them and see. This is an index universal life policy. When you put money in, it grows cash value and it can extend. The policy was still there. I couldn't believe it. After like 5 months of not paying, they say, yeah, the policy is still there. I say, you need to show me some proof that this policy is there. I don't even want to hang up this phone before I call back and somebody else.
And it said it's not available anymore. All right.
So he says there, he gave me guarantees. I hung up and I called back. The next person said, yeah, the policy is there. And so that was very profound for me. Now, look, this thing, it could happen to anybody.
All right.
Okay? It won't bring back your family member, your loved ones. Of course not. But it makes caring
Life
for
easier.
the final, it makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so my whole family, like Haruna said, my mother, my dad passed away a few years ago, obviously without life insurance, because our parents came to the States already. In fact, when my dad came to the States, he was already not well. So,
Right.
But at the time, life insurance wasn't even something I was considering. That was before I got in the industry. Okay, so it was basically out of pocket, fundraising, family members. People are very generous anyway.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to be that way, So
I think what you're speaking to is wealth and legacy transfer too. So I don't think we ever have to worry about funding to bury a loved one. But what I think is something great is when the kids that he leaves behind, when they're able to continue daily in their life, right? Because not everybody will be able to support them. The same funeral giving and support doesn't continue, right? It doesn't continue. So that legacy wealth that you leave behind is something important. Steve Waston said, "Can I take life insurance without allowing my next of kin to know?"
Yes, do it.
This is a very good question. But
so we're talking about confidentiality.
Yeah. Yeah. Once life insurance can be a source of generational wealth. But when you come from a good family, when I say good family, I mean family who has moral principles and are guided by these principles. Once someone take a life insurance, he can, when he dies, and he can pass on that wealth to the next generation. And it is good that you keep this issue of confidentiality intact, because human tendency tends to change from one time to another. So you never know. So you that get the policy, you determine who can be the beneficiary. And the good thing is that communication is only between the insurance company and that of you, and they are strong. They are regulated, so they know what to do and what not to do.
Thank you. Evangelist Abraham Setu says, "I'm watching the entire team live from the most talk about Bekube Avenue in Dole community. Abraham political Madrick safety rights. Madrick safety rights. Y'all know this guy? What Abraham, thank you for watching. And we hope you are learning something, my brother. And life insurance, we know times are hard in Liberia, but imagine how much harder it would be if you don't have something like this. So we're talking about financial wealth and education. And so this is definitely one of those tools to have. And we understand how difficult it is, but take courage and get something. Borbi, go ahead.
Hey, let me just say something to the audience in Liberia. Even though you're in Liberia, I would urge you to speak to your family, friends, your relatives in America to get life insurance.
Yeah.
Because what I have seen is that if a family member in the States has life insurance and they pass away, there's this big lump sum of money. Okay? The remaining family members can even help the people in Liberia better. Look, there's this young lady, her life insurance beneficiary is her church. This lady has a $1 million policy. So the pastors and the clergy members, listen keenly. Ensure that your congregation is well insured. You can even say, I will give 10% of my life insurance, the benefit, to the church, and 90% goes to my family. That 10% could be something like 10, 20, 30, $50,000.
Mhm.
That person never would have been able to afford to give that much to their church or whatever organization while they were alive. This lady is leaving $1 million to her church. She has a $1 million policy. And that the minute I heard that, it was so profound. I was like, wow. So these different organizations and churches we're a part of, we could just give, maybe not the whole thing because we got family, but we can give a portion of that to the church. You die, the organization will take the 90%, give it to your family, take the other 10% and give it to your church or your mosque. Okay? So that's a good thing.
Okay. Alex Cuffy says, also read the policy from work because some of the riders may only cover accidental death and disarmament. And I think you guys covered that. We don't need to go back to it. Vahon says, which type of life insurance can I purchase for my children that they can use for university? So I guess when they want to go to school, what type can he get? So you can either call these gentlemen, or by the way, both of these guys they've mentioned it before. They are on Facebook and they're on Messenger and so forth. So please don't if
I
there's
think
some
at some point we might want to put their information out there as well.
definitely that
I think Blopleh actually did mention 3 books that you were offline that I think we should add on there if we have. I wish I could add that on there, but I don't have control of that. But definitely their information on how they can be contacted. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, definitely. I'm putting the names of the books in the chat,
There you
sir.
go. In the chat room. There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just what Blopleh just struck a very important point. There is something called the insurable interest. Once, like I can insure my pastor, I can insure my mom, I can insure my dad, I can insure a business partner, because the loss of that person can have some impact on my livelihood. That gave me the right to have insurance on them. So if I'm working with this individual and we have a business and we both are managing this business, the loss of that person may cause harm to my business, may make my business lose some financial gains and some financial value. So there are insurance policy that I can use to protect that aspect of my business, where when the unforeseen circumstances happen, my business is secure. I can have some financial gain. So people make use of these financial instrument, these insurable instrument, to better their life and put them in a better financial position when the unforeseen circumstances happen.
Yeah, and just to kind of buttress that a little bit, in America, to say piggyback off of that. um, Look, business insurance, what they call, they're different types. One of the main ones that I like to talk to business owners about is what they call key person insurance. Okay, I can, yeah, key person insurance. This person works for me, but they are a key employee in my company or my business, like my accountant or my chief financial officer, chief operations officer. I can insure them. I have the insurable interest in this person to insure them. And what happens? That's a way to keep people working for you. It's a benefit, right? For instance, if something you could tell the COO, the chief operations officer, look, I'm gonna give you coverage from the company for $100,000. Okay. Now, this person is not likely to leave the company because they're getting insurance that's paid for by the company. It could even be a $500,000 policy, and you tell them that you give them $100,000. The company keeps $400,000.
Yeah.
You see, because, like Haruna said, the company needs to find another COO, and it's going to be detrimental to their business to lose such a key employee. Okay, and then another thing I want to touch on quickly, just for the sake of time, is that you see a lot of people around here, walking away from their jobs. I think it's in the millions right now. The number of people that have actually walked away from their job in the last 12 months or so. What do most people have at their jobs for retirement? They have a 401k plan.
Mhm.
Okay, when you walk away from your job, what happens to your 401k plan? It's stuck there.
Mhm.
You cannot contribute to it. Okay, it's being managed, it's probably accruing fees, and it's still in the stock market, right? So one of the things that we help people to do is, first of all, ask them, do you want to put your money somewhere where it's secure? You would never lose a penny, and you will gain interest on the money more than at the bank? Yeah, okay. We need to roll that money over into one of these types of accounts to secure your money. And people are doing that a lot. You won't believe how many people have approached me and they've lost money over the past couple of months because things are not doing very well right now this year. And they're like,
Right.
hey, I need to do something with this.
Right. This is very good, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, there are many different ways and tools that one has access to build wealth. We recommend that you always speak to a professional licensed financial advisor before making those decisions. Focus on Liberia. We really wanted to have this series to talk about this. We did the personal finance 1.0, 2.0, and now 3.0 with insurances. So now, gentlemen, we're going to be wrapping up. The hour is fast spent. Mr. Kieta, would you like to go first, or would you like to have Borbi go first with your closing remarks? 2 minutes,
Go
please.
ahead, Mr. Keita.
Thanks, thanks for the opportunity. Uh,
And also let people know how they can reach you. You in the state of Illinois or however other state. Please let them know.
And by the way, please, I put the names of the books in the chat. So if you want to put it up.
Yeah, did that already. Go ahead.
Okay.
what I would say now is that I want to encourage, like William said, I want to encourage everyone to educate themselves financially. There are things that school will not teach you. Financial discipline will not be taught by NN or school and then university. You have to teach yourself. You have to read books. You have to know what is happening because the financial market keeps growing, keeps changing.
Mhm.
Uh, Before, what you know about the 401k will not be the same rule that applies now about the 401k in
Yeah.
years to come. Your social security number will not always be the way you think it was 10 years ago. Things keep changing. So you have to keep teaching yourself, learning things, reading books, investigating, sitting with a financial advisor and learning and put yourself in a better financial position. There are certain financial terms you should know. The 72, the rules of 72. Everybody should know that. How money grows. Everyone should know that. Where do I put my money? Everyone should know that. What happened to my money in terms of taxes? Everyone should know that. You will not learn that in school, so you have to investigate yourself and ask questions. In terms of my how can you reach me? I think I share my website with Blopleh so that he can share with the team. And you can also reach me on Facebook. That would be the easier way now. Just look for my name, Haruna Asma Kieta, on Facebook. Contact me, and I will reach out to you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harun. I'm sorry I don't have the website, so maybe you can type it in the chat
All
or
right.
it
Okay.
could be put up. Yeah. But in conclusion, I want to thank you, William and Gabriel, for having me, Haruna, for being a co-guest. This is something that this is not a event, it's a process, and this is a process of getting financial information in the hands of ordinary Liberians in Liberia, in America, and all over the world. We are we are behind because, in my opinion, we lack certain amount of financial knowledge. And this knowledge is available, is out there. We can overcome many cultural challenges to some of these things. I know saving money is a big component of of elevating our people. We have to push people saving money. Life insurance is a form of saving money. It's a shortcut. That's how I look at it. Look, you can go out there and focus on different types of investment here and there. I'm just gonna have my 2 life insurance policies. Let's see in 30 years who's guaranteed to be a winner. Because my invest is not at risk. It's safe investment. I can still leave that foundation and do other types of investment, but my life insurance is my foundation. My family will get this money one day, and I don't have to. You could be in healthcare, you could be in real estate, you could be in technology, you can be in banking. You don't have to be an expert in financial services. So get the stuff that's easy, like life insurance, and then focus on your job. And you'll be much better off than the person that's jumping all over the place trying to look for the hottest new investment here, this, that, and the other, splitting their time. And at the end of the day, they still have nothing. They have nothing compared to the simple person that just had their life insurance policy. This thing is very much needed. Let's encourage all our family members and friends to read those books, get in contact with Haruna, I, or any licensed financial insurance professional. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. I don't think any of us could have said it any better than both of you. Brilliant.
Gabriel?
No, I think that was a home run from both of them. This is something I've always said that like I think they alluded to earlier. When somebody dies, yes, we have community that will rally around you with the GoFundMe, and yes, as Haruna said, that's only. I think you alluded to that too. That's only for the burial, right? After the burial, what happens? When the body is put away, you're left with all those debt, all other expenses that you have to deal with. The community will now continue to rally around you with GoFundMe. The GoFundMe won't be done in perpetuity. It ends when the body is buried. Life insurance or whatever protection you have is what your family will rely on. And I think they did a good job in actually articulating that, the importance of it, the different types of life insurance. And I think, thank you guys for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this is not the last time. We will look forward to having you guys back here again. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our panelists. We want to say it was just a great pleasure having you guys on to focus on Liberia, the marketplace. We hope that we accomplish our goal, educating, elevating, and promoting all things Liberia. That's what we like to do here. That's what we like to do in our broadcasting studio in Atlanta. Today we touch on all over in the nationwide area. So Chicago was in the house, Boston was in the house, Atlanta was in the house, even LA was in the house. And we got the Super Bowl thing going on here. So please, ladies and gentlemen, building wealth is little steps at a time. Sometimes you might have the occasionally good luck where you bet on the Rams and they win. But slow,
that's temporary.
That is temporary, and that is gambling. So please be very careful. With that being said, understand whether you're in Liberia or in the U.S., you need insurance, and we are all Liberians. To everybody globally, we say take care. COVID-19 is real, and stay tuned. Focus on Liberia for more and more production and more great shows. With that being said, have a good day. We are all Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.